there's a reason why they stopped KRS-One, Public Enemy, and all the rest of Professor Griff from spreading this message a long time ago in the 80s and the early 90s. And that's when they so happened to come out with this gangster rap. I spoke with a lady today, and she inspired me that I need to tell my story. So at the same time, while I'm continuing to spread this knowledge, at the same time, I'm going to tell my story. See, this government has intentionally done the things to our people that you can only imagine. And I hate to say it that these pastors and these preachers has been lying to you all this time. But I'm not going to get into that right now because that is a touchy subject with most people. But you will see as I tell my story, you will see just how devious our enemies are. But during the early 90s, KRS-One, this guy that I'm about to play for you in a minute, I want you to listen to, and I want you to listen to it good. If you really about knowledge and really want to learn something about yourself and what's going on in this world, pay attention to this video that I'm about to show to you. But back to my story. When they came out with gangster rap and all that stuff there, I don't know if anybody remember, I'm a 70 baby, but Dr. Dre ain't never been gangster. I think I went to one of his shows where he wore sequins, see-through thing, but that's a whole nother story. But I'm just saying, they changed the music from people that was giving us intellect, letting us know about ourselves. At the time, y'all don't know when they put the dope in the street, they gave it to us. I was 12 years old when they dropped it in the hood. So it ain't, and then you hear people talking about you had a choice, but what kind of choice you got when people making $5 an hour, $3.35 if you work at Burger King or McDonald's, and $5 if you work for a slave, like what you call them temp service, doing construction. I used to load a whole ship for $5 an hour, 10 hours for $50. Now tell me, $50, that ain't even no money now. You go to dinner and eat that one time. And these days of time, back then it was a little bit of something, but not as much. But I said that to say this. Once they put the crack in the neighborhood, or the rock, well, we called them rocks. I'm from Miami, so when they dropped it, and the hood blowed up. Shit. Everybody had money. Everybody took care of each other. We all looked out for each other. All this stuff the government came talking about the RICO Act and all this. Gang with no gangs. We people in the hood, people we growed up, we went to school together and all that. But anyway, I want y'all to listen to this brother because he got some important knowledge that that y'all should listen to, which I'm already aware of it. Cause it's time we gotta stop being a slave to a system that don't have no love for us, and start thinking beyond being a slave and start learning how to be free. And we can't do this unless we do this together. Even the ones that's lost, the ones that's still up under the system, the ones that's a puppet for our enemies in order to keep us controlled and enslaved mentally to a system that doesn't even belong. And the only way we can fight this, because we haven't lost our land because we still on it, but we lost our mind, just like this man finna tell you. So without further ado, I'm finna, let you listen to KRS-One. He on the Nick Cannon show, but he's spitting some real facts. So y'all sit back and y'all enjoy this.
If there was a reward to speaking truth, more people would. The true human resource is the mind. We never lost our lands. We lost our minds. Ooh. We never lost land. The land is still there. We don't have the mind to go get it.
We didn't lose our land. We lost our mind.
What we are discussing is not in books. Knowledge like this, awareness like this comes from within. Trust your ancestors. You have to become your ancestors in order to know them. Wow. So you continue Garvey in order to know him.
Wow.
There's a saying that says that in a society that is based on lies, you can do anything. So yeah, we're in a situation where the simplest things like peace, love, unity, joy, simple stuff.
Simple.
Easy
concepts that everyone wants.
That everyone wants and understands. You can't have it in a colonial situation. In fact, colonialism is, its presence is stepping on those things.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we can't have that. But now, you mentioned God. Anything you give a God is good for a God.
Who?
Your nature. Is your nature God? Yeah, my nature is God. So here's the poison. We want you to take this and
you right on top of it. I see where you're going.
God takes your poison in the mouth, gone. But guess what comes out? The cure. So the question then becomes, first, what kind of person are you? Are you a god? Or are you a demon? The word, our ancestors used the word demon. To D-man, to not man. Man is man.
Right.
To a not man is a demon.
To take the humanity out of
you. To not be human.
Right.
That's the demon. The demon. This idea of calling a black human being a slave is the crime to begin with. This is the first crime. No black human beings in the past were slaves. That is a white colonial racist designation for our parents. Our parents could never be slaves. They were skilled laborers. They were the ones that came here and planted the rice, planted the corn, planted the tobacco, planted the weed, the marijuana, planted, they don't want to talk about that, planted, built the roads. We came over as architects. We came over as astronomers.
Skilled laborers.
Skilled laborers. We were never slaves. Never, ever. That word is what is placed on us. Slavery. If you look at it in all dictionaries, start with the Oxford English Dictionary, slavery is only hard labor. We don't mean nothing else. Slavery, we make part of the slave. There's two different words. And those scholars know you can do this. The etymology on slave come from the Slavs and Russia and the Central Europe and where that word comes from. Right. So how does it get applied to black folk again? It doesn't. Slavery is just hard labor. Just hard labor. That's all slavery means. Drudgery, hard work. If you are watching this interview right now and you just did hard work, you was enslaved. You was enslaved. You was enslaved. No, you wasn't enslaved. You was enslaved.
Oh, right. Okay, I see what you're doing. Yeah.
You was enslaved. You see, and look at how the law works, because they abolished slavery, but not the slave. Or the slave owner. Imagine, you abolish slavery, but the slaves, meaning we don't have sovereignty. What does it mean to be a slave? You are dependent on another. You are the slave. You are the dependent.
As we all are.
As we all are, on their system, on their laws, on their medicine, on their education, on their... The minute we get that sovereignty, then we are actually not slaves in law. But legally, we still slaves right now.
That's what our birth certificate.
That's what a birth certificate. Come on, you're a piece of property.
We're born into this debt system, and you have a piece of paper that someone else owns, and they can buy and sell it at any time.
And they're buying and selling it. We're all property now, but we're property in a fantasy, because ain't no human being somebody property. But now here's the point. But if you're gonna run around acting like you property, if you're gonna run around ignorant of the fantasy,
the slave mindset.
Come on now, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. If you're going to allow yourself, see, this is why America is great. This is the greatest country in the world.
The fantasy corporation.
The fantasy. This is why America is great, because America will put the liquor store and the library on the same block. And say it's up to you.
Make your choice.
Make your choice. You go to the liquor store. How can God, how can karma ever strike America? If your history, it's a balance, and the balance is on that $1 bill. You see it right there, the key, the balance. This is what it is, the deception. The ego facing two ways.
Oh.
Deception.
But you can make your own choice.
You can make your choice. So if you gonna make the choice to be an idiot,
are you a god? Or are you a demon?
Damn.
Now that was on point right there.
If there was a reward to speaking,
because you got a choice. You can either continue to be a slave to the system, or we can all be free. And trust me, I believe, and I know that ain't nobody that I associate with or seen have us want to be a slave. But the ideology of depending on someone else to allow us to live free is a trap that we must all break ourselves out of. Once we start understanding the system and realizing, like, why are we paying taxes? Like here, if I buy a car, what I look like paying you property taxes on something that I'm paying for or that belong to me? What business, why do I have to pay you anything? Why are we paying light bills and water bills or any type of other bills from something, from a system, from a government that do not belong here? Stop allowing these preachers and these pastors and these bishops, all of them fake, all of them do the same thing anybody else do. They all human beings just like you. And they utilize your ignorance for them to prosper. If they actually told you the real facts about Yahshua, which they call Jesus in the Bible, was never a religious person. Never held a church. Never wanted to be a part of a church. Because on the outside, they say on the outside they look good, but inside they full of dead man bones. Yeah, with them pastors with them robes and all, they look good on the outside. But inside is dead man bones. We are spiritual beings. Spiritual things happen to us all the time. Deja vu, telepathy, blessings, all come in every way. There's no such thing. A demon, evilness is just people making bad decisions. People hating on each other, how people react to each other. It's all the mind frame that we was designed by in this system. It's just crazy. We have allowed ourselves to be robbed mentally, being raped mentally, to think these things about each other. We all depended on one thing, and that's this money that this government made through a private company, which is the Federal Reserve, that's owned by I don't know how many more families. But the money does not belong to us. If Jay-Z, Oprah Winfrey, any one of those billionaires, with a snap of their finger, they can impoverish them immediately. They have the laws to freeze your accounts. They have the laws to make sure that you won't buy or sell anything. They make the laws. And they laws is not for black people. Why? Because that's the way they designed it from the beginning. When they make laws that change your heritage, change your nationality, change your race, they have been doing that since the 17, 18, and 1900s until now you are known as an African American. They put that in the books. If that do not open up your mind to make you realize that you are property. I'm not nobody property. You shouldn't be nobody property. So follow me. Like and subscribe and join me. Together we can all unite and stop being a slave to this system. Because we have that right as beings, as humans, and that was God put us on this earth to be free, to be able to live, to be able to raise our kids, to be able to take care of our family without having to worry about somebody trying to kick you out your home, fire you from a job, or stop you from making money so you can take care of yourself. Because money is really what controls us, but their money ain't no good. We can create our own currency. We can create our own dollar system. Something that means something. Something that has value. You can have $1 million in your account and that bank can lose it and you're dead broke the next day by a push of a button. So let's be realistic about this thing. No matter how hard you work, no matter how many times you keep your bills, you can go out on weekends and get drunk and get high, party, even go on trips, cruises, and come back up under the same thing. Yeah, it's nice. I like to see people have them, have good, enjoy themselves. But everyone should have that same freedom as well. Can't blame them brothers and sisters out there on alcohol, drugs, and all that. It's not really their fault. You don't know what that person been through. It's easy to be on the other side and look at somebody's life and look at them with disdain and not mess with them anymore. But if you have any empathy, think about it. You don't know what that person been through. You don't know what that person had, what that person, have inside that nobody open up to them or talk to them about. That's judging. And the Bible said, if we don't need to judge because everybody you don't know when. Anybody can go through anything. All we can do is just try to help anybody, everybody. Maybe that's all they need. Love, understanding. Because these drugs ain't came automatically. They being flooded in your neighborhood every day by the CIA, the FBI, and everybody else to keep your community and keep black people down. Look at Florida. Florida done been took over by them Cubans. We need to stop allowing people to come inside our community, taking over. We have no control over anything that we do. Every hood don't have all the money in that hood. And every other business outside that hood is somebody else foreign. Chinese, Indian, Arab, whoever, Caucasian, whatever. Every black community, if probably have 1% of a black business, and then it's a rinky dink. You know, I can't stand with like Rick Ross with Wings stopping. You know, they got their money, franchise. But even then, I can't criticize. I don't know, you know, how they hiring him, but maybe it's still a start. Anyway, I ain't gonna keep up too much of y'all time. Y'all be blessed and have a wonderful day.